Get ready, Staten Island.
The Ferry Hawks host the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars. Tonight at 7 p.m., it's soccer night, and kids glow around the bases postgame. Saturday at 6:30, it's Broadway night with postgame fireworks and Broadway rave. Sunday at 1:30, it's Military Appreciation Day, and the kids run around the bases.
A great day out for the entire family. Kids run the bases after every Sunday home game. Want the best seats all season? Get more Ferry Hawks for only $63. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
He's the CEO of JNS.org. And the reason why I'm going to Israel this Thursday is because he once again has given me the tremendous honor of speaking at JNS's International Policy Summit, a big 3-day speaking event in its second year. It's going to open up, as they do each year, with Bibi Netanyahu and Mike Huckabee. And then I'm probably going to speak the last block with people like Mark Levin and Alex and Ron Dermer, Victoria Coates, Morton Klein, and others on the Tuesday night. But over the years, these last couple of years on this show, Traiman has really come to love President Trump. He really has. And most Israelis have. That may be over. Here was Alex's tweet yesterday. The statements by President Trump are absurd and no way for a U.S. president to speak to an ally. The president reserves the nicest comments for Israel's enemies, including Erdogan, Al-Thani, and al-Shara. You could add Mamdani, that list. The president, with his string of recent comments and his saving of Iran's regime, along with its terror proxies, risks turning into an Israeli adversary. Now, this may play into Netanyahu's sweet spot. Netanyahu has deftly managed the war on multiple fronts, dealing with all kinds of diplomatic pressures. And historically, Netanyahu has been at his best when dealing with adversarial presidents. Well, I got to tell you, you know, Alex, nobody loves President Trump more than me. I adore him. I think I texted him 6 o'clock yesterday morning to wish him a happy birthday. But I agree with you 100%. This deal sucks. It's a bad deal. There's nothing good about it. He's basically putting everything back where it was. That's it. From the Strait to giving money to Iran, he's putting everything back where it was. That's it. And for you folks, it's a horror show. So I want to disagree with you, Alex, but I'm not sure I can.
Well, good morning, Sid. I would say that many Israelis are disappointed. A country that's been in war for 2.5 years is ready to keep that war going if it would mean the end of this regime in Iran. The deal that President Trump's entering into is a deal that saves the regime. It's a deal that is meant to protect Iran's proxies, including Hezbollah, which is actively firing on Israel. But what's worse about all of it, because you can understand that America has really no obligation to Israel and helped Israel tremendously, and Israelis are tremendously grateful for that, is that at the end of it, with Israel flying side by side in the skies with America for 6 weeks, that the U.S. president would just publicly turn on his ally, on our prime minister, who I believe has just been acting the way he's been acting the entire time since this war began, which is to protect Israeli citizens and defend Israel's interests.
So why is he doing that? Is he, upset that there are morons out there that say, oh, Bibi, this is Bibi's war, so is Trump coming off particularly rough on Bibi? I mean, calling him names almost every day now, every day to prove to these morons out there that he's in charge. God, I hope he's not doing that.
Well, that's exactly what he's doing, and he's doing that by speaking to reporters like Barak Ravid, who are the very same reporters that the Biden administration was leaking, comments about Netanyahu too. So, he's using these left-wing journalists, which if it was on American concerns, he would be calling them out and telling them how disgusting they are. But here, with regard to Israel, he's using them to do exactly what the Biden administration was doing. He's doing it to get the MAGA community off his back, and he's also doing it to demonstrate to Iran and to Hezbollah and the Qataris and the Turks and everybody else in the region that he is the boss and that he can push Netanyahu around.
And Bibi can't do much about it because, correct me if I'm wrong, elections may be coming up as early as October in Israel, and Bibi almost needs to win again. There's a lot of people here who say if he doesn't win, they're going to arrest him. Pretty much the same thing as Trump. Remember, if Trump didn't win, he was going to jail, bottom line. And a lot of people think Bibi is facing very similar circumstances. Plus, he wants to win because he's a great prime minister and he loves the country. But I think Bibi may not be able to say to Trump what he wants to because he's probably afraid that Trump will really kill him and that'll hurt his reelection chances. So is that not true?
Well, I think for Netanyahu, he's a statesman and he's one of the world's top diplomats, and he would never talk about that like that about an American president. He never talked like that about President Obama or President Biden, even when he had differences. And he always stressed that there can be differences, and there always are differences in the room when you're talking among family. But what's the most important thing is that when you're in public, that you always make it look like there's zero daylight between Israel and the United States, because showing that daylight sends a very, very powerful and dangerous message to the enemies of Israel, who are, by the way, the same enemies of the United States. So Netanyahu would never talk like that about President Trump. And I think that even as President Trump says these things about Netanyahu is still grateful for the help that he has received from President Trump, and particularly the bombing of Fordo a year ago in June and these last 6 weeks of war against tackling Iran's nuclear facilities and ballistic missile facilities.
Here's the bottom line. President Trump did what other presidents promised, but Trump had the courage to do it. I love you, Mr. President. Did a great job. Anybody who argues that we should not have gone into Iran is stupid or anti-Semitic or biased. We had to do what we did. We had no choice. They did have enough material to build 11 nuclear bombs. Whether it was the next day or 6 months later, they said the same thing about World War II with Hitler. Oh, it's not tomorrow. So what? So it took a couple of months to kill 6 million people? So at the very least, he did the right thing when he started this thing. But it unraveled. That's the bottom line. And there was no exit strategy. And he underestimated, I believe, Iran. They'll stick around and keep doing this for years. And he's got the midterms coming up. And gas and oil prices are going through the roof, and he was stuck. We were stuck. So he just ended this thing because there was no good way to end it. That's not a good deal for me. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. I mean, Israelis were hoping that this military campaign would crush the regime. And I understand that the president has reasons why he didn't want to keep it going, but there was also a feeling in Israel that the economic pressure on Iran could eventually lead to its downfall. But what this deal does, in addition to leaving the enriched uranium in place, we don't know what's going to happen with that. That still has to be negotiated. But what it does is it immediately releases very strong sanctions on Iran, and it allows Iran to start selling oil once again.
Is that immediate? Because I've heard numbers anywhere between $20 to $28 billion. I just want to make sure, because they're going to spend the next 60 days jerking each other off talking about the uranium, which the Iranians are not going to give it up no matter what Trump does or says. So you're right. Does that start right away, the sanction relief and that money right away?
Not only sanctions relief, but what we're seeing now is the exact reversal of what we saw early in the war, where you had countries in the Gulf, turning to the United States, turning toward Israel. And now just in the last week, we've seen countries like the United Arab Emirates reportedly releasing anywhere from $3 to $10 billion that they're basically bribing Iran with. The Qataris sending money basically as bribes to Iran. With the United States unwilling to finish the job, these countries now are very quickly pivoting, and they're basically paying off the Iranian regime not to attack them.
Wow, I just can't believe that we've gotten to this point with this war where the president and the United States is about to sign a bad deal. I'm shocked. And, you had said to me on this show many, many times, and even Trump has said it. Trump said, if I run in Israel, I'd beat Bibi. I could beat anybody. He's right. I mean, all those times I kept going back and forth. There were Trump signs all over Tel Aviv. Probably 95% of Israel loved him. And I talked to a lot of people, not just you, Alex, in Israel now, that are very upset. How much of a hit is Trump taking with this deal?
I think Israelis are very upset right now. We always heard, that you take Trump seriously, but you don't take him literally. But what we've heard just over the last really 2 months since the fighting stopped is we just see a president that's flip-flopping, doesn't seem like he knows what he wants to do, what he doesn't want to do, is constantly intentionally trying to misdirect us. And now he's turned very, very hard against our prime minister. And, we support our prime minister in his battles against Hezbollah and Hamas. Even those that want a different candidate for prime minister come October, doesn't mean that they think that this war should be fought any differently than it's been fought. So, it's very, very disappointing, and Israelis are very concerned that the president has lost his way.
And if he loses his way, what you're really concerned about is that what we saw October will be 3 years ago will happen again. I mean, it's just going to happen again. Maybe it'll be another 3 years, another 5 years, maybe 10. But the concern is what this deal does is almost ensure that it can happen again, yes?
It basically ensures that Iran will race once again to build nuclear weapons because they know that they need them now, that's the only military deterrent that they have against Israel. And I believe that the prime minister and the people around him are very, very concerned that Iran cannot be trusted to keep to any deal that they sign. It's not worth the paper it's printed on, and that they will find a way to build secret facilities or acquire a nuclear weapon from other means that is an existential threat to the state of Israel.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?